Manchester City with a comfortable 2-0 victory against Borussia Monchengladbach. Bernardo Silva and Gabriel Jesus getting the goals as welcoming Jurgen Klinsmann to the show. Jurgen, this game pretty much played out as exactly as you would expected it to.
Yeah, it definitely was a demonstration of the strength of Manchester City at the moment. They are just in sync. They are just fluid. It's wonderful football that Pep Guardiola is showing there with his team. And Borussia Monchengladbach, unfortunately, today never really showed up. They had no courage. They have nothing basically to offer to make it really miserable and difficult for Manchester City. And so the game was very one-sided and a very deserved win, obviously, for Man City. I personally was highly impressed by Cancelo, the left back of Man City. I mean, he almost played like he should have had the number 10 on his back. He played like a playmaker and had everything basically under control, delivered the balls for both goals. Very strong performance by Man City.
What do you want to say about this?
Well, I mean, it was exactly what we thought it was going to be. I mean, Gladbach are not at the strongest point of their, recent history. Their manager's announced he's going to Dortmund. It's been a difficult Bundesliga season for them. They're sitting around 6th, I believe. We're looking at a City side who have dominated almost every team in the Premier League domestically, and that was a continuation, even with changing the centre halves again. But as Jurgen said, you and I have talked about this player for weeks and weeks now, Joao Cancelo. The difference is, and I know he played left today and Walker played right, but predominantly Cancelo's played right recently and Zinchenko's played left. And it is effectively having another guy who is good enough to play central midfield floating into that midfield position. I mean, he can play balls almost as good as a Bernardo Silva or even a David Silva of recent years before he left to go back to Spain. So it's having, and the difference is when Walker goes in there, it's an extra body. But Walker doesn't have the passing skills of Joao Cancelo. Zinchenko's a good passer, but Cancelo's a step up. Amazing stuff, just total control. A couple of fleeting visits forward for Mönchengladbach towards the end, but that was it. The only frustrating thing from the coach was Guardiola, that the likes of Sterling and Jesus really could have put this game to bed much earlier.
Jurgen, where do you stand on Gabriel Jesus? We're just seeing here Pep Guardiola's record in the Champions League, of course, knocked out the quarter-final stages, round of 16. We'll get to that in a moment. Just from a striker's point of view, is Gabriel Jesus where he should be playing for Manchester City? Is he up to that standard?
Oh, he's absolutely up for that standard. I think he's an outstanding player talent. And he makes the best out of the way Man City is playing. It's a fluid game that they have. It's a combination game, obviously possession-oriented. And it's not a game that is tailored to him because obviously he's a number 9. He wants to score goals. That's all that matters to him. But he, in this fluid game of Man City, he has to move to the left, to the right. He has to come back, drop back into midfield. So he becomes part of those 5-6 attacking players. And sometimes you never know, do they actually put a centre forward in there? So it's not easy for him, but I think he makes the best out of it. He's going with that situation as good as he can, and at the end of the day, they are now in 4 competitions with the possibility to win it all. I mean, if they continue like that in the Champions League, they're looking as one of the favourites, definitely. Alongside maybe Bayern Munich at the moment. Then obviously they are 10 points ahead already in the Premier League. They play the League Cup final against Tottenham at the end of April. They can win it all. And then it's not so important if Gabriel Jesus now scored 20 or 25 goals or 15. If he wins 4 titles, I think that's pretty special.
And we saw Aguero coming on.
Yeah.
We saw Aguero coming back and getting some game time. Who's the most clinical player they have in front of goal. There's no doubt about that. The stats would back it up. He's had so many problems this year with the COVID and with his injuries. But we're at the business end of the season, and to have him back, and he's obviously not quite up to speed, but to have him back, to have that clinical end game to all that good play. And it'll be interesting to see how much use that Aguero and Jesus gets, because actually we're all scratching our heads 3-4 months ago thinking, well, how are they going to cope? But actually, he's coach Guardiola that 1 has the players, but 2 has the confidence to actually maybe go into a big game, and I mean, the Gladbach game's not the biggest game because they're expected to win it. But say they were playing a Bayern or a PSG in a semi-final, whatever it is, I could see him playing without a striker again, because it has been successful for him, and it does give the opposition other things to think about, and also he has the personnel to do it. That's the key thing as well. He has the personnel that he can throw a De Bruyne in there, or a Sterling or a Mahrez, and say, just play through the middle for me, and then take the centre-halves around them. We'll get some runners to go in. So even though Jesus and Aguero are fit, great for them, but no guarantee that he'll go with them. He's making your position redundant, Jurgen.
No, I hate it. It hurts me. But it is the way. I mean, Spain did it, in 2012. They played without Fernando Torres. I was a big Fernando Torres fan. And they played six attacking midfielders, and you never knew who was showing up in the middle of the park there in that number 9 role. And now imagine, he has Kevin De Bruyne, he has Gundogan going in that space, he has Bernardo Silva, he has Sterling. It could happen, as Craig rightfully says, so it could happen that he plays maybe the semi-final in the Champions League without a real number 9, without a real striker, and still scoring goals. I don't hope so, to be honest. I don't hope so.
Jurgen, just put into context, because obviously critics of Pep Guardiola and Manchester City will say, look, it's easy. They just buy new players when they want to. They've just been bankrolled by all this money. Guardiola, any old coach would come in and do what he's doing. How much credit does Guardiola get, or should he get?
Listen, Pep Guardiola is very, very exceptional in what he's doing, because he's obviously a tactical, brilliant coach, but most and foremost, he is an amazing people manager. He knows how to communicate with his players. He knows to keep everybody on the same page. He keeps them all stimulated and motivated. And if you decide to play for a team like Manchester City at the moment, it doesn't matter how big you are as an individual, you know that you have to become part of the collective, of the group, of the entire system under Pep Guardiola. But he's able to communicate that to you. So he deserves really every single credit, every compliment out there.
Now, there'll still be people out there waiting to knock him if he doesn't win this competition, because he was unable to do it at Bayern. Hasn't done it yet at City, had obviously unbelievable success at Barcelona. But, and I've said this to you over the past few weeks, if anybody out there thinks you can just throw these players together, and they haven't spent that much recently, in the past they've spent more. If you think you just throw these players together and it happens, you just really don't understand the game.
Right.
And that's not to say he hasn't got his faults, like every coach, and there's always weak points. But on the face of it, he's understood the defensive issues that they had, and they've been much more pragmatic. And he's managed to still have them controlling games week in, week out, without the strikers, and he's rotated the team, and he's rotated the players, and as I said, the man management side of it is good, and we'll see what it delivers for them at the end of the year. But this is not just about any old Tom, Dick or Harry can manage this Man City side and they'll play this way. That is, nothing could be further from the truth. This is down to what he does on the training field, what the players understand, how they take it on the field, and how he improves these players. Cancelo, a good case in point. There are many others. But how he has improved, particularly this season, under this coach.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN+.